So this year for 2019, I said I'm not buying any new games. I'm not gonna go out and purchase any new games. I have such a big collection of games, such a wide collection of games that I don't want to buy anything. I just don't. Um, like I'm just not dealing with it. And then Gearbox was like, okay, let me test your resolve. Let me test your faith in your ability to not buy any games this year, with the exception of the two games I bought last year that came out this year because of pre-orders and nonsense, whatever. Um, but Gearbox goes, okay, let us test your resolve. Let's see what you got. And I was like, all right, test my resolve. What you got? There's nothing you could throw out to me that I'm gonna be tempted to buy. And Gearbox goes, what about Borderlands 3? And I was like, you motherfuckers! I love Borderlands. And there was a franchise that I have not given enough love to on the channel that I'm absolutely obsessed with. It's Borderlands. It is motherfucking Borderlands. I love Borderlands. I have purchased the Handsome Collection, the originals. I pre-ordered the pre-sequel when it first came out. Absolutely obsessed with this game. Like, series. And I started going for it on the PS3. And I was like, alright, you know what? I'm a platinum this. At that point, I had just platinumed the second one in the Borderlands 2. I had already platinumed Borderlands and Tales of the Borderlands. So when Borderlands 3 was officially announced, because we've known about it for a while, let's be honest, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to buy it, but I'm going to celebrate the fact that 3 is finally coming out. And I celebrated 3 coming out by playing the ever-loving shit out of Pre-Sequel. I platinumed Pre-Sequel in celebration and anticipation of number 3 coming out. And it was awesome. Like, I'm gonna be up front. Borderlands Pre-Sequel is not the best game in the franchise. If I had to rank them now that I've platinumed every game that's come out up to this point, Borderlands 3 coming out in a couple of weeks, months, whatever, at this point, I platinumed all of them, and this one's probably one of the weaker ones. If I had to put them in order, I'd say it goes 2, 1 Pre-Sequel Tales. And a large part of the reason why Tales of the Borderlands just doesn't get it done for me is that it's a Borderlands game in the world, in the major character deaths that go down in that game, but not in really anything else. It's more of just a name in the world and in scope. So getting to play as this was fucking awesome. Now, I did play this game a number of times. I'm trying to go for it. My original main character was Nisha. I love Nisha. I think she's great. But this time I was like, no, I'm going all in. I'm going for the platinum. So my main character was Claptrap. Let me tell ya, playing this game as Claptrap, which if you do want to go for the platinum trophy, you kind of are stuck with Claptrap if you want to just go all the way through. And try to get this platinum as quickly as possible. You have to play as Claptrap. And his ultimate ability, VaultHunter.exe, is, in the nicest way of saying it, a nightmare. It pretty much enables a random ability to come through and pretty much just kind of fucks up your shit. Like, there's one that turns you into a suicide bomber. Jack in the Box is called, and you have to run up to someone and blow that up. There's one where it's all in one, where a single shot will use up your entire clip, which, if you're not realizing that that's what you're using, can pierce through ammo quickly as fuck. And there just seems to be a lot of repetitiveness in the world. So not only am I playing as this character who's a complete and total wild card, who I absolutely despise playing as, once you get more than 5 minutes in, you then have to face the world. And the world is very Borderlands-y. I'm actually going to go with the Jack Doppelganger, just because I've never used them. So I'm going to just do this real quick. Nah, I'm just gonna... Don't know why I'm putting so much time into this. It's not important. But the world is really repetitive, and it's a bummer because you go from playing something like Borderlands 2, which has all these wild and diverse worlds, all these different cities and all this stuff. I was kind of going through. Even back in Borderlands 1, we had Old Haven, New Haven. You just have a bunch of different stuff happening. Here, you really don't get that. The moon being a smaller area to work with and play with, you really don't have a lot to kind of do when it comes to just like looking at stuff. A lot of the missions are standard Borderlands stuff, part-time, explore everything, part-time, fetch quests, part-time, just kill things. And after playing this game a number of times, I did originally play it on the PS3, getting about halfway through the game before switching over and deciding to play it on the PS4, I got really sick and tired of this game by the end of it. Fortunately, I was lucky enough to have a good friend, like, hey, I have no problem helping you out, let's kind of do this together type thing. I absolutely love Borderlands, and we pretty much played through all of it in about a week. The original plan was, because we've noticed that we were about 6 days, when we started playing it, we were about 6 days away from when he got the Platinum Trophy last year. So we started this hunt by saying, well, that would be a really cool thing if we could get it on like an anniversary thing of your Platinum. And I want to be honest, he loves Borderlands. He bought the the new Game of the Year. Ooh. Gonna pick that up. Thanks game for giving me a ultra rare weapon, a legendary weapon on a 10-minute video. Thanks. So we wanted to plow through the game really quick and just kind of go for it in a way. And we got pretty much everything done. We were down to the last 3 trophies by the time the anniversary came out, and we were like, okay, perfect. This is gonna be perfect. We are gonna be able to do this. It's gonna be awesome. And let me tell you, we didn't. We didn't. Which sucks, because we did put a good amount of hype into it. We also put a good amount of hype in the, getting it before the Game of the Year edition came out. And the reason why we were excited about that was like, because we knew, right, that he was gonna try to pick up the Game of the Year edition. We both knew it, and he told me very honestly as we were playing through. He goes, I'm not gonna keep playing Pre-Sequel in my free time if I can go ahead and play the first one again and get another Platinum Trophy. He's not as big as a hunter as I am, but he has 100% in the entire Borderlands franchise. So for him, this was really just a goodness out of his own heart type thing that he was helping me out with this one. Dude, another one? Why not? What's happening? What's happening right now? That's insane. So we knew that even if we didn't get it past this, didn't get it before the 6-day time limit that we had added on to ourselves, it was gonna be pretty hard to find time for the two of us to sit down and play Pre-Sequel with the new game coming out. We all seemed like we just weren't going to want to. It's one of the things that became stressful as we started to wrap up the hunts. It's like we're on a time limit times 2 now. Now that pre-sequel, now that 1 is getting this remastered on the PS4, we are down. And it became this thing of like, well, we don't have any time to waste. And we just ran through it. As quickly as we could, we were pushing through this game. And we just couldn't get it done. And in the end, the grind for level 50 is what ended up killing our run before the deadlines, which was so disappointing. I ended up being level 40 by the time we kind of like got where we were going, which again, super disappointing. Which is super disappointing. All in all, while we didn't finish our goals when it comes to platinuming pre-sequel in time, it's a Borderlands game, and I absolutely loved it. I loved the wacky, zany humor. I loved the references it was pulling out left and right. Even though it's a weak Borderlands game, it is still a Borderlands game, so it still gets a good chunk of my love. That being said, oh right, I forgot about this. That being said, let's not kid ourselves either. This game has issues. While it does do probably storytelling and connecting the dots better than pretty much any other game in the series, mostly because it doesn't really have to work all that much into making new shit. Just figuring out what we're doing type thing, you end up seeing how all of Borderlands 2 ends up being a thing. And it's done a lot of times when the prequels and prequel type games, it just ends up rough. So I was worried about that going into this game for the platinum. But it all in all wasn't all that bad. It ended up just being incredibly frustrating, to be honest. There's a trophy for getting an enemy iced, frozen, electrocuted, and on fire all at the same time. For that trophy, what you're going to want to do is you want to play as Claptrap. And Claptrap on his right hand skill tree, I forget what it's called at the moment, that you need to level up all the way. And at the very bottom of that skill tree, it has a rainbow icon. Pick that action package. Once you get that action package, you'll be able to hit it. It's completely randomly generated, so you're not going to have... I can't give you a surefire way of doing it. I would just get into a shit ton of enemies, activate that. You're going to be at least level 25 to get the item, to get that action package for his Vault Hunter.exe. And then from there, you can go ahead and use the ability. The other thing is that the reason why I recommend using Claptrap, even though he is possibly the worst character to play this game with, is that he needs to get to level 25, while all the other characters just need to get to level 3 to get their trophies. I mean, I'd make an argument for Nisha. I ended up getting her up to level 23 before I got her trophy, unfortunately, just because I wasn't getting the right weapons, I wasn't able to get the right skills done. It's just one of the things where it's like, it's what we're working with, and because this game is very much like that, it relies a lot on RNG and just random loot drops. As you saw, I lost my shit when I got 2 legendary weapons in the first 10 minutes of the game. A lot of it being luck based and procedurally generated. You could have a much easier time with this game, or you could have a worse time with it. I know one of the hardest things in Borderlands 2 for me was trying to get everyone having every slot having a purple or higher rated item. Luckily that wasn't as difficult here, but yeah, was worried about it going into it. I ended up getting that trophy much sooner than I got it in Borderlands 2, so it was a good time just seeing that being played out. The hardest trophy for me personally in this game was the grind to level 50. The reason why I say that is because with everything else, it made sense. It was something that I could do quickly and easily and just kind of go through. I am going to give you a guide on the Who You're Gonna Go trophy for completing level the sub-level 13 with 4 players. It is a huge Ghostbusters reference, but I'll want to talk about this first. I ended up having to play the entire game basically twice, all the way through, as well as doing the DLC, the Claptastic Voyage, all the way through twice as well as still grinding out a lot to do. I had to do a good chunk of the missions, the side missions all over again, and it was just, it ended up being something that almost wasn't worth its time. It's one of the things that kept me from enjoying the game more fully as I kept playing. And it's something that I wish it was more like Borderlands, that had a much more, not much more, but an easier time of the grind. It felt like in this game that, I don't know why, it felt in this game like it was almost too much of a grind, and it seemed unreasonable. Borderlands 2 went into that territory a little bit, but not nearly as far, in my opinion, as the pre-sequel does. And it could be because I find this game to be an inferior game to the other ones. Not a bad game, just an inferior in comparison. That the grind seemed even more egregious. But at the end of the day, you can only do so much. And I do feel like this game does do a lot of things really well. I feel like it takes away this extra need. It takes away the class-specific games that ended up being this almost not worth really experimenting all the other things out when your character is only proficient really with one type of weapon. Well, it's something that definitely made the other two Borderlands stand out and made your decision all that much more important of who you want to play as. You don't really get that here. That's not something here, so you're given complete freedom to explore the weapons. And being that you're going to have to do all the challenges, you're gonna need them. You're gonna need that freedom to kind of explore and not be penalized for trying out different weapons. Now, the challenges in this game are fucking nightmarish. Well, even though I did get to level 50 as my last thing, so it all kind of purposed the grind. Had I remembered that I was going to have to do those challenges because I had completely forgotten my mad rush to play through the game, it would have cut down my time significantly. But I didn't, so I ended up kind of just getting screwed on it. It ended up adding way more time than was necessary to my playthrough, and it ended up just being an even more infuriating thing to have to get through. It ended up being this thing where it's like, I don't really want to keep doing this, and I ended up having to not schedule but plan my gaming around the challenges. I'd get to a certain landmark in the challenge and say, okay, now I can go to bed, because that's fine now. And it happened more often than once, and just, it's something that I didn't feel was present in the other Borderlands games. Now, that could have been my fault not playing the game right and forgetting about this very important, very grindy trophy that I had to do, but it was something that it felt almost egregious in comparison. Borderlands The Pre-Sequel is almost a standard Borderlands game when it comes to its trophies. Complete all the side quests, defeat the super mega boss at the end of the game, and give you a reason to go exploring everything. Now, that being said, there are certain things about it that I just can't get over. It feels like with every good thing that this game has, every good idea, like the who you're gonna call a trophy for doing the uh, mission sub level. Did you say haunted trophy? With 4 other players as a huge reference to Ghostbusters. You have something else like you have something that's almost just as egregious, going in the other direction. Playing through this game is, on your first time, fun and wild and magical. On your second time, there's extra content to be there, to be given and hidden, with certain characters making cameos and having discussions. I thought I was in the bullet. Am I not in the bullet? Having discussions that are really fun to listen to. Tiny Tina makes a return in your New Game Plus, with essentially your New Game Plus playthrough, and she adds comments and does all this stuff that you might have been missing from the first time around. It also serves as a really good reminder that even though you're playing, all the gameplay that you're doing takes place in between 1 and 2, it chronologically and story-wise, you're after 2. You're in between 2 and 3. So it ends up being both a before and after on the Borderlands franchise as it is now, and that's something that's really interesting. And I feel like with all these really interesting bits that the game does, it backtracks and ends up shooting itself in the foot. It's something that even Tiny Tina comments on later in the game, where there's a character that you meet that goes by the name of Jenny Springs. And Jenny Springs is this really fun scrapper. She's pretty much a junk collector, and she sells it in the different towns, and you meet her as the first new character that you meet. Every other character up to this point you've met in some capacity. You've met Lilith, you've met Brick, Mordecai. You've even met all of the characters that you can play as: Claptrap, Nisha, Wellheim, as either a boss fight, or as something else entirely. When it comes to the form of Claptrap and Nisha, who's given more of a side mission type role, as your first new character in the game kind of just forgets about her. You get to play and hang out with her for a good chunk of the game, giving you side missions up to here and there, but once you get to the back half of the game, it's almost like the game goes, wait, who? And I can understand why. This game coming out after Terror of the Borderlands, there's a certain character who I'm not gonna spoil, who gets offs, and it's something that, you know, they're probably working as I don't want to say replacement, that's almost too harsh, but as a substitute in this part of the game, at this part of the story, and she just kind of buzzes off, and it's something that's like, oh, okay then, you know, and it's just frustrating and upsetting that this character that I did like, who was flawed and is revealed to be a stalker of like some of the main cast, is just like, why? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the other egregious trophies. Oh, the 360 no scope trophy, which is a reference to a lot of the garbage that was happening when this game came out, is actually pretty simple. What you're gonna want to do is use Nisha's showdown ability, get a sniper rifle, go to I would almost recommend Serenity's Waste, being that it's the first main area of the game, and therefore has all the weakest enemies. Get a sniper rifle and just activate her ability, jump up, do a bunch of spins, and keep firing the damn sniper rifle. You'll pick it up pretty simply. It's what I ended up doing to get the 360 no scope trophy, both on the Handsome Jack collection and the original Borderlands Pre-Sequel release on the PS3. I think that's about it. Oh, there's one thing I do and cannot stress enough when playing this game. If you're gonna play with a friend, you personally have to go and hit every single named location. That's probably my biggest gripe with this game. With all the other games, if you hadn't been to an area, you haven't located an area, the map just didn't show it because you hadn't been there. It was something that made sense. But in pre-sequel, large chunk of the maps are already revealed to you as you're kind of walking through, and you can get the entire map shown without actually have gone there. So when I was going for the World Traveler trophies, which you need for, there are 4 trophies that are dependent on just traveling. One for the early game, one for the mid game, one for the late game, essentially. And then you get one for getting all of them. And just not having it there was so... What do you mean? Just not having that function there was just so frustrating. Especially when it ended up adding, honestly, a bunch of time to the game. Because we couldn't find it. It was something that was absolutely frustrating, and we just couldn't figure it out. And it was something that I wish we could have found out and solved sooner. The other trophy that I'm going to have a big tip for, and it's how I did it, is the trophy for suffocating for 5 minutes straight. You can't really do anything naturally to get this trophy. It is something that you're going to just have to figure out a gimmick to do. And I'm going to tell you how we did it. How I did it, and how by proxy my friend did it, is that I ended up getting a new character. It was like, the only way we're going to do this is if we're going to get a new character. So I popped on a new character. I used Wellheim for this one. And I just sat in a corner. We started out playing a True Vault Hunter mode, our New Game Plus playthrough, and he just went to town. I sat in the corner, I suffocated, and as I was about to die, he would kill an enemy. The enemy would then give me enough XP, because we did this pretty late game on his New Game Plus playthrough. I would then level up, which would give me all my health back. And then I would start to choke again. And until I was about to die, he'd kill off another enemy. And we just kind of did that for 5 minutes until the trophy popped. Is it the most elegant solution? Not at all. But it did give me the trophy. And really thinking about it, really like trying to figure out how to do it, I don't know how you could. I mean, the only thing I could say might work is getting to a really high level, coming back to Serene's Waste, and just standing out here and hoping that, 5 minutes passes and you don't choke. But for a more guaranteed way, you can use the method I just told you guys. Now that is all I have for this. I am going to go ahead and show you the Platinum Trophy, and I'm going to give it my rating. But thank you guys for watching. Alrighty, here you go. Borderlands Offender, round 1.5. Now, I love Borderlands. I've been very clear about that this entire video, even though I think that this is a mediocre Borderlands game because of how I had to play it, and because of just the madness that is a lot of the same type of textures, a lot of the same type of environments. Things get mad at me really quickly in this game. And even though I do love Borderlands, my biggest fucking issue with this game is that with Borderlands 2, Borderlands 1 Pre-Sequel, and Tales from the Borderlands, the Platinum Trophies got really fucking lazy and was just like, here's the title of our game, congratulations. Even in the original Borderlands, while it wasn't really unique looking, it was just the vault symbol with whatever in the background. It took an idea, it took an effort to kind of put through, and I hate this Platinum Trophy design. Absolutely hate it. It looked like it's lazy and it's uninspired, and I despise it. But it is my prize, and it is my 63rd platinum trophy. So I can't, as much as I would love to, I can't bitch too much, now can I? I absolutely love this series. I wish this game was a little bit better, but with that ultra rare rating amongst all players, and it's sitting at a 4.94 at the time of this recording on PSN profiles, I can't help but be really proud of it. I wish I could have given it a brag about it rating. I wish that there was more environments to kind of looking for. I wish that it fulfilled all of the boxes that Borderlands 2 did, even though the RNG nearly killed me in that game. And this one was much more forgiving. I can't give it a brag about a rating. I have to just give it be proud of it and settle it at that. I absolutely love Borderlands, and I'm very excited for 2020 when the first game I'm buying of 2020 is Borderlands 3, and I'm gonna be playing that into the fucking ground until I platinum that. I might even play it on the channel. So if you guys want to see a Borderlands 3 playthrough on the channel, it would be a complete playthrough of the story and the side missions, as well as me doing a bunch of the trophies along the way. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. And yeah, that's all I got. I did not realize I was speaking about Borderlands Pre-Sequel for 31 minutes. My apologies. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys in my next video. Bye bye.